Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today's topic is all about typecasting. So one day I asked Python to mix a number with a word. Python looked at me and said, "Sorry, I don't mix apples with oranges." That's when I learned about typecasting. Typecasting means changing one data type into another, like turning a number into a text or a decimal into an integer. Python does this in two ways. One is implicit typecasting. Implicit typecasting is something when Python changes types on its own. For example, if you want to add an integer with a float, then Python quietly converts the int into float. This is because there will be no data loss and Python is being smart. The another one is explicit typecasting. Sometimes Python says, "You decide and I'll wait and see." That's when you use different functions like int of, float of, string of, lists of, and etc. to convert from one data type into another. You told Python what to do, and so it listened. Let's understand both of these with an example. Okay, let's now understand about the implicit typecasting with an example. Considering the variable num1 and the value in it as 5, then I'm considering the another variable as num2. I have given the value as 2.5. So as we know, the data type of a num1 is integer. Let me write that. And the data type of num2 is float. Now I want to perform a addition operation on both of these variables. As the both of the variables data type is different, what will be the output of it? Whether the output will be in the integer form or whether it will be in the float form, or will we get any error? Let's check that. For example, I'm taking the output to be result is equals to num1 plus num2. Then I'm printing that result. Let's execute it and check what will be the output. See, we got the output to be 7.5. Okay, let's type the type of, by using the type of function, let's just check the data type of it. Print the type of result. Okay, now let's just execute it. See, the type of result is float and the output we got is as float. So when we are adding the num1 integer with num2 float, we got the output to be float. This is because the Python automatically converted an int into float before addition, because the float is a bigger in the data type hierarchy. So to prevent the data loss, that is to prevent the 0.5 of data loss, Python has converted this integer into a float. That is, 5 is being converted into 5.0. So it is been added to 2.5 and we got the output as 7.5. And the explicit typecasting with an example. Let me take a variable x and give a value something like 10. Then let me take another variable y. Now, explicit typecasting, as I have explained already, it is to convert from one data type to another manually. So I want to convert this x, as we know x is an integer. So I want to convert this integer into float. So what I will do is I will use float of function. Then I'll write x inside it. That means this integer is being converted into float and it is being stored in the y variable. Let me print that y out. And let me check the type of that y. Let's execute this. See, the output that I got here is 10.0 and the class is float. So the 10 that was an integer is being converted into float. So as y is converted into a float data type, now I want to convert this float into a string. So let me take another variable, that is z. Z is equals to, let me write str. To convert to string, we use str of function and write y inside it. Let me print this z. Then let me print the type of z. Let's execute this. See. The z is being converted into a string data type. That is the reason if we print the type of z, we got it as a string. Now let me convert a list into tuple, then into set. First, let me take a list considering the variable to be fruits. Let me take a bunch of fruits. I got a suggestion, so let me do that. Then let me convert that list fruits into tuple. So let me take t is equals to tuple of those fruits. Let me print the t. Let me print the type of t. Now let me execute this. See, here the list is being converted into tuple and the class that we got as a tuple. So we can differentiate here using the braces. Here it is a squared one. Here it is a curved braces. So the list is being converted into tuples. Now I want to convert this tuple into set. What I'll do is I'll take here another variable, that is s. Then I'll write set of, then that t. Now let me print s here. Let me print the type of s here. Let's execute this one. See. Here I got the output in the form of set. That is, we can understand using this curly braces, and the type of function also gives the class as set. Okay, so till now we have converted from int to float and float to string, or else list to tuples, tuples to set. But what if can we convert a string to integer to float? Will that happen? Let's check with an example. Considering a variable num underscore str, let me give a value to it. As we are giving a string, it should be enclosed in a quotation marks. So let me get 23. So by looking at this, we know that this is a string data type. Now I want to convert this string data type into integer. Let's do that. Let me give another variable as num underscore int, which is equals to int of, using the int of function to convert into the int. Then copying this, then I'll paste it here. So what I'm doing here basically is converting this string into the integer, and it is being stored into num underscore int. Let me print that. Let me print the type of num underscore int. Let's execute this. So here if you check, the class that we got is an integer. So we can convert from a string to integer as well. Now, so let me convert this into float here. Let me take one more variable as num underscore float. Then using the float of function, I will take num underscore string, that is fine. I will print num underscore float. Let's check the output of that here as well. Okay, let's execute this. If you see here, We got the output as 23.0, then the class as float. So basically we have converted this num underscore string, which was a string data type, to an integer, then to a float as well. Okay, so now let's try to convert the string into list or tuples. Let's understand that with an example, taking a string as a example. For example, x is a variable and I'm giving a string as hello inside it. I want to convert this x string into a tuple now. So what I'll do, I'll take another variable as y, then I'll take list of the x. Then I'll print this y. Then I will also print the type of y. Let's execute it. See here, the each letter is being an element inside the list. It has been split into different elements and it is being enclosed in a list. And the class is given as list. So we can convert a string into list. Let's convert a string into tuple now. Let me take another variable as z is equals to then tuple of x. We will print z, then we'll print type of z. Let's execute this now. See here, it is being enclosed in a closed curve brackets. So it is being converted into tuple and the class is also tuple. As we can see here, z is being converted into tuple. But sometimes you cannot convert from one data type to another data type. This is because Python allows conversations only when it makes logical sense. Python is logical, not magical. So let's understand some of these scenarios with an example. The first scenario is converting invalid strings to numbers. Let's understand this with an example. Let me take a variable x and give a value hello string inside it. Now I want to convert this hello string into an integer. So let me take another variable as y, and to convert into integer I am using int of function. Then I am adding x inside it. If I print that, let me check what will be the output that I get it. See here, I got an error saying value error, invalid literal for int of with base 10 hello. This is because we cannot convert a text string into an integer. But here is a catch. If instead of this text, if we give a number like 1, 2, 3, and if we convert this string into an integer, let's see what happens. Let's execute it. See here, the output that we got is 1, 2, 3. Instead of an error, we got an output. Why is this? This is because only invalid strings we cannot convert into an integer. So if you want to convert strings into integer, we should use only numeric strings. The second case is converting complex to int or float. Let's understand this with an example. Let me take a variable z and give a complex value, that is 2 plus 3j. Now I want to convert this complex value into an integer. So let me take another variable y, and using int of, I just want to convert that z value into an int. Now let me print that. Print of z. Let's check the output. See here, we got an error saying type error, int of argument must be a string, a bytes like object, or a real number, not a complex number. This is because we cannot convert a complex number into an integer. But here is the thing, if you observe carefully, this 2 is a real number. So if we extract this 2, then we can convert into a float. And in the previous chapters, we have learned how to extract a real number from a complex number. So we will be using real, dot real to extract only the real part from a complex number. Then I'll convert that real number into float. Let's check what will be the output. And let me print that y. Yeah. So the output is here 2.0. So now even though it is a complex number, we extracted the real number and we have converted it into the another data type, that is float. The third case is converting mixed type strings. Let's understand this with an example. Let me take a variable x and give a string value, that is 12.5. Now I want to convert this string into an integer. So let me give y is equals to int of x. Now let me print this out. Print of y. Let's check what will be the output. See, again here we got an error, that is value error, saying invalid literal for int with base 10. Just now we have studied that instead of text, if there is a number, we can easily convert into int. But why again we are getting error? This is because here this data is in the form of mixed type. Even though it is enclosed in a quotations, it is a string, but we have a float data inside it. So to fix this, first we have to convert, instead of int, we have convert it into float. Now let's check the output. See here. Now this data type from string, it became to float. Now I want to convert that y into integer. So let me take another variable z, int of y. Now if I print z and execute it, the output that I got is 12. So here we were not able to directly convert from an string data type to integer. Here what we did is we have first converted into float, then we were able to convert into the integer. Let's get into another topic, that is common mistakes beginners make. So the first case is forgetting to reassign after conversion. For example, let me take a variable x and give a value 10 inside it. Now as this is a string, I want to convert into an integer. What I'll do is I'll take int of function, then I'll convert this x. And most of the people, what they do is they directly print x. Let's also check the type of x here. Now if you check the output is 10, but the class is still string, because after you have converted into another data type, you haven't assigned or stored that value into any another variable. That is the reason if you print x, the data type is still string. So what you have to do is, how to fix here is, give a variable or store this data into another variable. Now if you print y and the type of y, the output is 10 and the data type is integer. The second one is converting incompatible data types. So let me take a variable list1 and give some values inside it. Now I want to convert, like most of the beginners thinks to convert this list into an integer. So what they do is print of list, print of int of list1. Basically they are converting this list into an integer. Will that work? Let's check this. No, that don't work, because it gives an error saying type error, int of arguments must be a string, a bytes like object, or a real number, not list. Why is this happening? This is because int of only works with numbers or numerical strings not collections. Here a list is a collection. It has lot of elements like 1, 2, 3, 4, like 4 elements. But int have only capacity to carry one element. So to fix this, instead of int, we can give as sum and enter. See the output as 10. What it is doing, it is just summing all the elements and giving one integered output here. So to fix that, I have used the aggregate function sum. The third one is converting set to dictionary directly. Let me take a set S, then let me give some values inside it. Now I want to convert this whole set into a dictionary. Let me print it dict of S. Let me check the output. Here I got an error saying type error, object is not iterable. Cannot convert dictionary update sequence element has 0 to a sequence. This is because the dictionary holds a key value pairs, but a set is having only a single elements. There are no key value pairs inside it, so we cannot convert it. But here we can fix that as well. Let me change this. If I give the data in this format, now let me execute it. See. Okay, for your understanding, let me also print the type of S. See here, this is a set and we are converting it into dictionary because it is having a key and a value separately. That is why we were able to convert into a dictionary. The next one is a confusion between empty structures and Boolean conversion. If you print a like Boolean with an empty data type, what will be the output? Let's check that. Print bool of empty lists, then print bool of empty tuples, then print bool of empty set, then print bool of empty dictionary. Let's check what will be the output of all of these empty data types. See, the output here is false. If you want the output to be true, you should insert some or the other value inside this data types. For example, list, I am giving a value 0. Inside a tuple, I am giving this value 0. Inside a set, let me give a value 0. Inside a dictionary as well, let me give a value 0. Here, if you observe in this tuple, I have ended it with a comma. This is because if you ignore this comma, the bool will consider this an integer. So to differentiate between a tuple and a single integer, we have given a comma. Okay, now let's execute this. See, all the output here is true because it is carrying the data inside it. For example, if I skip the comma here, what will be the output? Let's check. See, the output is false because the bool is considering the 0 as an integer and bool of 0 we know that it is a false. The bool of 1 is true. Let's check. See, the bool of 1 is true. So empty structures represents nothing, so they evaluate to false. Add data if you want true. Thank you so much. We'll be back again.